The untold truth about Sydney Sweeney is that while the world is busy obsessing over her looks, she is quietly executing a master plan to take over Hollywood that not even the biggest studios see coming. You might think you know her as the girl from Euphoria or the viral sensation who breaks the internet every time she posts a bikini photo. But that is just the surface level. If you look closer at her career moves, her business decisions, and the way she handles the press, you realize she is operating on a completely different level than her peers. She isn't just an actress waiting for her next script. She is a calculated business mogul who understood early on that fame is fleeting, but ownership is forever. It all starts with the roles that she almost didn't get. Before she was Cassie Howard or Olivia Mossbacher, Sydney was fighting for her life in the industry. She moved to Los Angeles at the age of 14 with her family, who sold everything they had just to give her a shot. They lived in a cramped hotel room, and the pressure was immense. Sydney wasn't handed these roles on a silver platter. She had to audition hundreds of times. She landed small parts in shows like The Handmaid's Tale and Sharp Objects, playing dark, traumatized characters. These were the roles that proved she could act, but they also threatened to typecast her as the victim forever. She had to fight to break out of that box, and she did it by leveraging her own image. The moment Sydney Sweeney became a global superstar happened in Euphoria, but it wasn't just because of the script. It was because she made the character of Cassie so incredibly vulnerable that people couldn't look away. However, the show also brought a massive problem: the hot girl stigma. Suddenly, the internet couldn't stop talking about her body. She was reduced to headlines about her physical appearance rather than her performance. A lesser star would have leaned into this, taking roles that just required looking good, but Sydney hated it. She realized that if she didn't take control, she would just be a prop in other people's movies. This realization is what led her to make the most important decision of her career: starting her own production company. This is where the story shifts from actress to boss. Sydney Sweeney launched a production company not just to have a fancy title, but because she realized that Hollywood wasn't making the movies she wanted to see. The best example of this is the rom-com phenomenon, Anyone But You. Studios had essentially declared the romantic comedy dead. They weren't funding them because they claimed streaming had killed the box office for love stories. But Sydney saw a gap in the market. She knew the audience was hungry for a fun, light-hearted movie, but she had to convince the financiers. She didn't just star in the film. She became a producer. She put her own money and her reputation on the line. The marketing strategy for Anyone But You is now studied in business schools as a case study in viral marketing. Sydney and her team knew that the chemistry between her and Glenn Powell was the selling point. Instead of doing standard press junkets, she leaned into the rumors. She posted TikToks, she staged moments on the red carpet, and she let the speculation run wild. She turned the movie's press tour into a reality show that everyone wanted to watch. The result was a movie that cost $25 million, grossing over $200 million worldwide. She proved the studios wrong, she made a massive profit, and most importantly, she proved that she is the one driving the bus. She isn't waiting for a green light. She is installing the traffic lights. But this level of success comes with a heavy price, and Sydney has paid it publicly. One of the most viral moments in her recent history was when she spoke out about the financial reality of being an actor. In a candid interview, she mentioned that she doesn't make enough money to take a 6-month break. The internet erupted. People mocked her, calling her out of touch because she is a millionaire. But this reaction completely missed the point. Sydney was exposing the dirty secret of the industry. Being a star on a hit streaming show doesn't pay like it used to. Residuals are shrinking, and the costs of being a celebrity, stylists, publicists, agents, taxes, are astronomical. She was brave enough to say that the system is broken, and even though she got dragged for it, it earned her the respect of every other actor in the industry, who is too afraid to speak up. Then came the controversy that almost derailed her reputation. Her mother's birthday party. A photo surfaced from a celebration in Idaho that showed some guests wearing red hats that looked like MAGA hats. The internet mob immediately descended on her, demanding she apologize for her family's politics. It was a classic cancel culture trap. If she apologized, she was admitting to something she didn't do. If she fought back, she looked political. Sydney handled it with the precision of a surgeon. She didn't issue a tearful apology video. She didn't get into a Twitter war. She simply stated that she loves her family and was celebrating her mother's 60th birthday, and that she doesn't condone hate speech of any kind. She refused to let the internet hold her hostage for the actions of her relatives. It was a defining moment because it showed she has a backbone of steel. What makes Sydney Sweeney so fascinating to the general public is the stark contrast between her on-screen persona and her real-life personality. On screen, she often plays the chaotic, emotional, or hypersexualized character. In real life, she is a massive nerd. She is obsessed with cars. Not just driving them, but fixing them. She restores vintage Ford Broncos and Mustangs in her spare time. There is viral footage of her in a mechanic's jumpsuit, grease on her face, working on an engine. This is not a PR stunt. She actually holds a certification in car repair. This hobby humanizes her in a way that no photo shoot ever could. It breaks the stereotype of the dumb blonde and shows that she has skills that are completely unrelated to her appearance. It makes people root for her because she is authentic. Speaking of authenticity, let's talk about her love life. In an era where celebrities use their relationships for clout, Sydney has managed to keep her engagement to Jonathan Davino surprisingly private. They were together for years before the public even knew they were dating. Jonathan isn't a famous actor or a singer. He's a restaurateur and businessman. The fact that she chose a partner outside of the industry speaks volumes about her values. She isn't looking for a power couple moment. She is looking for stability. When she finally did show off her massive engagement ring, she did it on her own terms. She understands that mystery is a currency, and by keeping her relationship private, she makes it more valuable. Her strategy with fashion is equally calculated. Every time she steps onto a red carpet, she is telling a story. Take the Met Gala, for example. She didn't just wear a pretty dress. She wore a vintage Chanel gown that channeled old Hollywood glamour. It was a statement that she sees herself as a classic icon, not a fleeting influencer. At the Oscars, when she wore that custom Miu Miu dress with the intricate fringe, it was designed to move in a way that would look spectacular on video. She knows that in the modern age, red carpet isn't just for the photographers. It's content for TikTok and Instagram Reels. She designs her looks to go viral, ensuring that she dominates the news cycle the next morning. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Sydney has been open about her struggles with mental health and the pressure of fame. She has admitted in interviews that she deals with imposter syndrome, constantly fearing that she is one bad movie away from everything being taken away. This anxiety is what drives her. It is why she works so hard. She doesn't have a safety net. She comes from a middle-class background, and she knows exactly what it feels like to have nothing. This fear is her fuel. It pushes her to work weekends, to produce her own projects, and to never get comfortable. It is the reason she is often seen as the hardest working person in the room. Another aspect of her career that often goes overlooked is her comedic timing. Everyone knew she could cry on screen, but can she make people laugh? She answered that question by hosting Saturday Night Live. Hosting SNL is a test that many actors fail. The live format is unforgiving, but Sydney crushed it. She was willing to be silly, to make fun of herself, and to step out of her comfort zone. She poked fun at the sympathy fat rumors and the hot girl image. By showing she could laugh at herself, she disarmed her critics. It proved to directors that she is versatile. It opened the door for her to do more action and comedy films, further diversifying her portfolio. Let's dive deeper into the business side because this is truly where she separates herself from the pack. Most young actors are content to just take a check. Sydney is looking at equity. When she signs on to a project now, she negotiates for back-end points and producing credits. She wants to own the IP. She is developing projects based on books and comics, eyeing franchises that she can lead for years to come. She is thinking about her career in decades, not just the next award season. This long-term vision is rare. It is the kind of thinking that turns a star into a brand like Reese Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine. The way she handles criticism is also a masterclass. When Rolling Stone published a hit piece questioning her trad wife brand and questioning her politics, she could have lashed out, and instead, she ignored it and let her work speak for itself. She understands that in the attention economy, bad press is still press. And as long as she keeps delivering hit movies, the headlines don't matter. She is thick-skinned. She knows that you cannot please everyone, so she stopped trying. She focuses on her fans, the people who buy the tickets and watch the shows. And she gives them exactly what they want. One of the most endearing viral moments involved her dog, Tank. Sydney is obsessed with her French bulldog, and she takes everywhere. When she posted a video of Tank struggling to get into a car, or just being lazy on set, it got millions of likes. It seems small, but these moments build a parasocial bond. People feel like they know her. They feel like she is just a normal girl who loves her dog. It counteracts the untouchable goddess image and makes her accessible. It is a brilliant, subtle way to maintain relevance without even trying. Her physical transformation is also topic of viral conversation. Sydney has been open about the extreme effort it takes to maintain her physique for roles. For anyone but you, she had to get in incredible shape, and she documented the diet and exercise process. But she also balances this with her love of food, often posting about cooking and baking. This balance is relatable. It shows the discipline required to be a movie star, but also the human desire to just eat a cupcake. It makes her fitness journey aspirational, but not alienating. We also have to talk about her hair. It sounds ridiculous, but her blonde hair is iconic. She has revealed that she refuses to dye it for roles because it is her signature. She understands branding. When you see that hair, you know immediately who it is. It is a visual cue that triggers recognition instantly. By protecting her image in this way, she ensures that she is always marketable. She knows that her face and her look are her logo, and she protects them fiercely. Looking at her upcoming slate, it is clear she is doubling down on this strategy. She is starring in horror movies, action films, and biopics. She is working with legendary directors. She is positioning herself as the female lead of the next generation, the one who can open a movie on her name alone. She is following the playbook of actors like Dwayne Johnson and Margot Robbie, who pivoted from being cast members to being producers. The reason Sydney Sweeney is winning is simple. She respects the business of show business. She treats her career like a startup company where she is the CEO. She manages risk, she invests in herself, and she diversifies her revenue streams. She is not relying on the kindness of strangers or the taste of directors. She is creating her own opportunities. The narrative that the media tries to push, that she is just a lucky pretty face, is insulting to her grind. Yes, she is beautiful, but beauty is common in Hollywood. What is rare is the drive, the business acumen, and the strategic vision that she possesses. She is playing the long game while everyone else is playing for short-term likes. Even her mistakes are handled perfectly. When she had a wardrobe malfunction on live TV, fixing her dress strap mid-interview without flinching, it became a viral moment of cool girl charm. When she was caught looking awkward at a basketball game, she laughed along with the memes. She has mastered the art of leaning in. If the internet is going to talk about you, you might as well control the conversation. Sydney Sweeney represents a shift in power. The old gatekeepers of Hollywood are losing their grip because people like Sydney have figured out how to go direct to the audience. She doesn't need a studio to approve her message. She has Instagram. She doesn't need a magazine to validate her beauty. She has TikTok. She has democratized her own fame. So, the next time you see a viral photo of Sydney Sweeney, remember that you are looking at a CEO in disguise. You are looking at someone who played the game, realized it was rigged, and decided to build her own table. She is just getting started, and if the next 5 years are anything like the last 5, she isn't just going to be a star. She is going to own the sky. She is the blueprint for the modern celebrity, and frankly, everyone else is just trying to catch up. This is the reality of Sydney Sweeney, and it is exactly why she isn't going anywhere anytime soon. She is here to stay, and she's bringing the whole industry with her.